They all say I look like you.
Huh?
They all say I look like you.
Well, once again, I want to thank everybody for being here this evening for the 18th induction into the Taylor High School Sports Boosters Hall of Fame. It's always a great evening to get together and visit with some of the old athletes, or former athletes, let's put it that way, that come back to Taylorville each year, people that we've watched play ball over the years. And of course, it's just a great honor to be associated with a group like this. The selection committee has a tough job every year, and I want to recognize those members of the selection committee. So what I'll do is I'll introduce them, ask them to stand where they are, and then if you want to clap for them, you can at the end, okay? But I'll start out with Slick Parrish, Harold Slick Parrish. Rich Wilson Sr., did he make it tonight? I'm not sure if Rich is here. Bob Ware. Bob, are you here? Don Williams. Mark Stevenson. Barb Monge, Bob Richardson, Matt Hutchison, Paul Held, and myself. That makes up 10 members of the selection committee. Thank you all for being here. Now, there's one member of that 11-person committee that I didn't introduce yet, and because he's something special. I call him the glue that holds it all together. Without his direction and his guidance throughout the year and his planning and the worry and the sweat that he puts in over this banquet, this wouldn't happen. But I think it's a testament to him that we have such a good turnout here this evening, and that everyone always goes away with a good feeling about attending the Hall of Fame banquet. So here with a few comments about the Hall of Fame Selection Committee is our chairman, Mr. David Hickson.
Thank you. I do appreciate that, Terry, a lot. Being the glue, I think kind of reminds me of when I played sports at Taylorville High School. I was kind of the glue because I was slower than everybody else. Brought back some painful memories there. The Hall of Fame, we were just talking at our table that the Taylorville's getting back to the Apollo Conference, and back when my son was in high school, we were in the Apollo Conference. We used to take the trips at that time, including the Apollo Conference, were trips to Robinson, Paris, and Newton, and so that was almost a weekend trip for every game we would go to. And so on the long trips back from one of those spots during the winter basketball season, those of us would ride together because it was better to ride with somebody keep you awake when you're coming back. We would talk a lot, obviously, about a lot of things, but one of the things that came up was why Taylorville doesn't recognize, with the history that we have and the pride and the programs that we have, why we don't have something to recognize the great players, the great athletes that have come through Taylorville High School. So as a result of being in the Apollo Conference originally, this idea came up from the time we had. And so a group of us sat down and we looked at Hall of Fames throughout the state, and we got some constitutions and bylaws, and we wrote our own. And in 1995, we had our first Hall of Fame induction ceremony. And at that time, of course, the people that were inducted included our 1944 state championship team and their coach Dolph Stanley and Bill Ridley and then Johnny Orr and Ron Bontemps as individuals. That's a pretty good group of people, and they set the standard pretty high for the rest of us. But the Hall of Fame is supported. We couldn't do this without the sports boosters because they're the financial aspect of what we do. And the sports boosters were very happy to be our financial supporters. And so we are an arm of the Taylorville High School Sports Boosters. The purpose of the program originally and still is to try to honor the great athletes and the traditions that come out of Taylorville High School. But more than that, and that's one of the reasons I'm really kind of excited tonight to honor the wrestling team and the two basketball teams we have, because one of the main things we really wanted to accomplish was to get that connection between current athletes and the history of the past. And so that when these kids go on the court, they know they're playing for something more than who they are and what their team is. They're paying for a tradition that's come down from, matter of fact, basketball, you're going back to 1909. And to me, one of the greatest teams that entered into the Hall of Fame was in our second year, and that was the 1928 football team, which this may be astounding to you from all the great football that we've had. The 1928 football team is the only undefeated, untied football team in Taylorville history. We've had many undefeated teams, but not undefeated and untied. And in that, when we had that, with 1928, you would think we would have trouble getting any of those members back. We had 5 players from that team come back, and 1 cheerleader, which we didn't know came back, but she stood up and said, "I cheer for these boys." But that night, something was said that really stuck with me and has through the whole time that makes this really an important thing. And one of the men who was inducted that evening with the team, he said, "You know, in 1928 when we played football, it was fun. We just went out and had a good time, and it didn't mean a whole lot." But he said it does now. And that just hit me about saying it is important that we recognize our athletes of the past. It is important that we recognize their traditions of the past. So how do you get into this situation? How do you get to be a member of the Hall of Fame? Well, first of all, you have to do something really good. You have to be noticed. You have to obviously have lettered. You need to have been an all-conference, an all-something player somewhere. But then, and this is really important, I want to point this out to those of you sitting here, because we have a lot of deserving people. People are deserving consideration for the Hall of Fame, but we don't vote on them because they haven't been nominated. We only can vote on people that have been nominated. We don't go out looking for people. We have around, I think, 60 people on our list right now. Tonight, we're breaking 100 of people going into the Hall of Fame. But if you know of somebody who you say, "Why aren't they in the Hall of Fame?" there's a good chance they haven't been nominated. So make sure that if you know somebody, you get in touch with one of these board members, or stop at the superintendent's office and get an application, a nomination form, and get these people nominated, because we want to see people that deserve to be here, that exemplify what being a Taylorville Tornado is all about. To get in, though, once you're nominated, we discuss every single nomination, person who's been nominated, and it takes 9 of the 11 votes to get in. There can only 2 dissenting votes for somebody to get in. And I want to tell you, that's tough. These people that are out here take this job very seriously, and there's a lot of discussion about who gets into this thing. And so it takes 9 of the 11 votes for whether it's a team or whether it's an individual or a friend of sports to get in. And we try to make sure that we get in, obviously, people that are deserving. But we want to make sure that teams that are deserving, but the thing we don't want to do is water down the group. And we haven't even come close. And there are so many good athletes that have come through Taylorville High School. And each year, you just see more and more individual athletes coming along. Even though we haven't had a lot of good win-loss records in the last few years, look back, there were some great players on some of those teams. And so the idea is to get you people to come to these banquets, to have them honored, and then to go out and to get some more. The display, these plaques that we have are displayed at the high school. They're in the hallway of the new cafeteria. I say new cafeteria. If any of you went to the high school, it's new. Those of you going to high school, obviously it's not. But in the hallway, we have these displayed, and we are trying, this next year, one of our main goals is try to improve that whole display area. And hopefully when volleyball and football season starts next year, we want to invite you to make sure you go into that hallway, or during the basketball season, if you're going down to get some popcorn, go down and look at the display and look at the people who are in our Hall of Fame now. You see their names on your program, but you can see their pictures. And we hope to have some other displays inside that entire hallway. So that's what the Hall of Fame is all about. That's how it came to be. We're excited to provide it, and we just appreciate the fact that you're here to support it. Thanks a lot.
And as David alluded to, we are doing something a little bit different this year. We are going to pay tribute to some current athletes. And I believe our athletic director, Paul Held, is with us this evening, and Paul will handle those introductions. Paul, where are we at? Over here. Ladies and gentlemen, Paul Held.
Thank you. I think Dave might be in cahoots with my wife getting me exercise by putting me way back in the back. Certainly this was a wonderful year for sports at Taylorville High School, and I've kind of asked at the meetings that I've gone to and things like that, has anybody had a winter season where both basketball teams won a regional and the wrestling team won a regional? And no one can come up with that. I'm going to have to do some more research, but the athletes this past winter season just did a tremendous job representing our school. They fought hard and they came away with those wins. So it was a certain pleasure for me to be part of that in some little way. My congratulations, of course, to the 4 inductees, Kim Burton, Johnny Jones, Dick Seacrest, and Kim Paisley Hollensteiner. Okay, first up will be the wrestling team. And it's my pleasure to introduce their head coach, Lee Mateer. Since Lee Mateer signed on as a coach, he was an assistant back in 2007. They have won 2 outright Central State 8 Conference championships, 2 team regional championships, and of course this year they went to state. 3 years ago he became head coach of the Tornadoes, and his record right now, though next year I think we're going to challenge it a little bit, his record now as a head coach is 61 wins and 6 losses. Lee Mateer.
Everyone's going to have to pardon me if I stumble a little bit. A lot of people, a little nervous. My uncle, who I have a lot of respect for, he said, just always imagine everyone naked. And Paul, I'm going to need you to go to the back. Freaking me out. Not many opportunities you can make fun of your boss in public. First off, I'd like to congratulate the boys and girls basketball teams. It's been a pretty, as Paul alluded to, pretty special winter, and I'm pretty grateful to be a part of it, and I feel very thankful for that. I asked Paul all week, what do you want me to talk about? What do you want me to talk about? And one of the things that I feel very passionately about is my hometown and my school. Not only do I work there and I interact with all the student athletes every day, but I have a very special place for Taylorville because I graduated from here. All the guys that I coach, I say, hey, I've walked in your shoes quite a bit. I've been everywhere you've been, and I know exactly what you're feeling. And one of the things that when Paul asked me to take over, again, when he asked me to take over, I was a young guy, I had a lot on my plate, but I was like, one of the things that really drew me to the job, and I firmly believe this in my heart of hearts, wrestling is a sport where kids that are tough, that are able to work hard, that have amazing threshold for pain and can persevere, those are the type of individuals that succeed. We have a lot of kids in our community, in our school, that fit that bill. And To me, that is exactly why we've been successful. And I told the kids from day one, I was like, listen guys, I'm not interested in being mediocre. We're not going to be mediocre at this. If we're going to do this, we're going to be great. And I'm going to pick on him right now, but Brock, stand up, buddy. For those of you who don't know Brock was our third ever state qualifier this year. He's our only individual sectional champion. He was our team captain, and he is the very first person thus far that has won a match in the Assembly Hall in the state championships. And it is because of Brock. He is the exact example of what our kids are defined to be. He is a Taylorville kid. And this is why I truly believe that our town, our school, can be great in landscape of wrestling because of individuals like Brock. Pretty special people, in my opinion, and I hope the future is bright. And again, I'd like to thank the Hall of Fame Committee for honoring us, and that's all. Thanks.
Okay, the second group that we'd like to honor is the girls basketball program. It's first-year head coach, Mark Hannon, who's making his way up here. But really, it's his 10th year coaching here at Taylorville. He, I don't know if he was a jinx early in his career, but he went through, I think, 5 head coaches in 5 years at one point. But he's been the constant, and he took over the team this year when we asked him to, and they took their rightful place in the girls basketball history here at Taylorville. They won the 12th regional this year, and they finished at 20 wins and 12 losses. Mark Hannon.
Thanks, Paul, and I want to thank the committee for including us in this. This is a great honor for us. I do have some girls out here today, so tonight. So would you guys please stand up? I won't go through and introduce each one of them, but please stand up. These girls, they worked extremely hard for this year. We started off the season 5-0, winning the Taylorville Thanksgiving tournament, and you know, they did a great job there. We even had some injuries during the year. We always have injuries during the year, it seems like, and we battled through those. We had girls get back. We had girls that played through their injuries all season. And we end up, as Paul said, we ended up being 20-12, which is any coach knows winning 20 games is tough. No matter what kind of team you have, 20 games is always tough. They did 20-12. We had, after that Thanksgiving tournament, we had 6 home games the rest of the season. So to go 20-12 with 11 home games all season and having 5 of them in the first 2 weeks, that's pretty amazing. We got to we did get third in 2 other tournaments, and then we got championship at the regional, and they fought extremely hard in sectional. We didn't come out on the top, but they played great. And you know, I moved to this town about 24 years ago. My wife's from here. My wife's back there, April. I moved here 24 years ago. My daughter went to school here. I feel like it's home for me. I love this town. I'm happy to be part of this. And thank you, the administration and everybody, for letting me do this. And I also want to congratulate the other 2 teams from the winter sports. But thank you.
And then the final team tonight from the current group would be the boys basketball. And certainly anybody that's followed basketball around these parts in Taylorville the last several years knows that when Coach McVickers came to me towards the end of last season and said, I like what I see, and I see something that it's something that can be special and something I believe in. And so Coach took over, and a winning season later and a boys regional championship later, here we are. Carrie, why don't you come up here, because everybody wants to hear you talk now.
Thank you so much for including us this evening. First people, the Hall of Fame inductees, congratulations. It's such a great honor to be in the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Fame people in the audience, it's so cool that you're back year after year. I was just inducted in the Illinois Basketball Coaches Association Hall of Fame last year, and it meets on this same night, and I couldn't wait to go back to the Illinois Basketball Association tonight, to walk around, and they do the same thing at the IBCA. They introduce, the guys that's been coaching forever, and there's all my idols, they stand up. I would rather be here tonight, though. I would much rather be here with Taylorville, because I found out, as Lee said, what a bunch of hard-working young men can accomplish when they put their hearts into something. And so I'm so honored to be here also. I've been in Taylorville 8 years. My wife, Beth, if she'd stand up, please. She's a big part of this. She doesn't like that every year. With coaching 32 years, your wife has seen a couple basketball games, let me tell you, and of course, when you're a basketball coach, you do coach so many more games than all the other sports, so there's a lot of nights you don't sleep at all, and I bounce all these things off of her, so, thank you, Beth, for all the great years of following the basketball as it bounces along. I'd like to congratulate the wrestlers. Lee, remember we talk about all the time, winning begets winning. That's my favorite saying. I wish I could say who taught me that years and years ago, but winning begets winning, and he and I talked about it all winter. Mark, congratulations. Girls, I saw you grow up for 3 years. I couldn't be more proud of what the job you guys did, and Mark just stepped in and just was awesome, and you guys played awesome, so congratulations. I see all those special smiles back there. We had such great times. So anyway, get into boys basketball season. I'm on a 2-minute clock, Mark Stevenson said, and that's impossible. So anyway, and Mark, not by any way to call you out, because you're one of the all-time greats, New Mexico. Anyway, moving right along, Southern Illinois, Carbondale. He thinks I'm his PR man. I try to, every chance I get, talk nice about it, because I would like to have him on my team, I think. From what I've heard, I think. Now, the way he acts now, I'm not sure I want to have him on my team, but back then, I guess he could play a little bit. Anyway, getting on. The boys basketball team, as Mr. Held said, I went to him and I said, you know what? I'm ready. I just think there's something there. Got the boys together. We had a great summer. 3 nights a week we got together, and for an hour and a half a night, some of the nights it was 100 degrees. I got some boys here who could tell you it was 100 degrees in the West Gym, the East Gym, and Stonington High School Gym. We spent some quality time there, but every kid made a commitment and came. We had 40 boys showing up this summer to play basketball. And that was I was so proud of them from that point on. The other thing is, we didn't play a game this summer. We worked on dribbling, passing, shooting. Imagine that, and that makes a difference in basketball. Another one of my sayings is, if you can't dribble, pass, and shoot, it doesn't matter what offense you ran. Well, we became very fundamentally strong. Got into the season, opened up with the Thanksgiving tournament. I hate to admit this, but I probably said, boy, Mr. Held, I'd like to be 2-2 in this tournament to get things rolling. Next thing you know, Jeff McChristie hits a bank shot from half court, and the Tornadoes are off and running. Won the Thanksgiving tournament with a 4-0 record. Had to beat Granite City on the road to do it, a 4A school. No one gave us a chance. I think we beat them by 7. From there, we rolled into our own Christmas tournament, which, if you're a basketball fan, that was the place to be this year, was the Christmas tournament. We'd love to be able to have a name on that Christmas tournament. But anyway, on that Christmas tournament, again, we had to play Galesburg High School, who won their regional. Outstanding basketball team, outstanding tradition. We beat them for the championship of the Taylorville Holiday Tournament. Every game was outstanding. The game we lost, we scored 79 points in. We like to shoot because our coach likes shooters. Then we went to Pana and played for the Coal Miners Trophy. There's probably a couple people in the room that like that win. When Taylorville got to knock off Pana for the first time in years and years and years. Then it came around regional time, and again, we're the number 4 seed. So not, even though we had a good year, still, we're just the lowly number 4 seed. We had to knock off the number 1 seed, Decatur MacArthur. Again, I think we beat them 79-70. So in the semifinals, and then had to play Mount Zion for the championship, who had won 19 games. They said they were the best team in the Apollo this year, and we beat them. So that speaks well for the future, hopefully. We also then won 18 games, which was the most wins in 28 years. So something else I'm very proud of, to be part of that. So just a great year with great kids. So I hope I didn't talk too long, and I'm just so proud of them. I mean, especially because they worked so hard to get there. It wasn't like we just showed up and, oh, we're gonna win 18 games this year and 3 championships. They put their time in. So thanks to my players, thanks to the community, thanks to Mr. Held, he's an outstanding AD, the administration, school board, everybody gave me a chance this year to be the coach. Thank you.
Okay, and then just for information for next year, I know Mark kind of plugged me a little bit there on the only 6 home games after the tournament, but next year there's a lot of history going to be made next year as well, because a lot of these teams got a lot of kids back, and then it's just kind of a perfect storm of things. It's the last year in the Central State 8. Everybody's looking forward to the Apollo coming. You know, when it's not really the old Apollo, it's really quite a bit different than what it was back in the days. But next year, we get to host the Thanksgiving tournament because it travels, and we have our Christmas tournament, and we found out that we're hosting the regional as well. So actually, next year, the boys are going to have 20 home games in our West Gym, and the girls, if I counted correctly, will have 14 home games next year, including the tournament, of course. So come out and watch it. And while I'm at it, I guess I'm plugging my own job here. The wrestling team will have, I believe, 7 or 8 home games, or home meets as well. So come on out and watch these kids making history next year. Thank you.
Paul, you think Kerry was taking a shot at you about the schedule? I think he was taking a shot at me about beating Pana this year. I don't know what he had to mean about that. Now we get to the part of the evening that the real reason that we have all come here tonight to pay tribute to athletes from years gone by here at Taylorville High School that very deserve it for this honor. And to handle the introduction of those inductees, I'll turn it over once again to our chairman, Mr. David Hickson.
Thank you, Terry. Our first inductee this evening is Kim Burton. Kim Burton graduated from Taylorville High School in 1974 and earned varsity letters in football and baseball. Kim was one of the most dominating defensive players to ever play for the Taylorville Tornadoes. Undersized, but always focused on making contact to get to the ball carrier, Burton was instrumental in helping the 1973 Tornadoes to an 8-1 record and a share of the Mid-State Conference Championship. He was selected team captain, MVP. He earned All-State honorable mention and special mention as a guard and was selected to the Decatur Herald and Review All-Area First Team and the All-Mid-State Conference First Team in both 1972 and 1973. Following graduation, Burton received a scholarship to play at Western Illinois University, where Coach Deke Pollard said he was one of the most physical and toughest players he recruited. Now, aside from my notes, I was fortunate enough to coach Kim Burton when I was an assistant football coach in 72 and 73, and I can honestly say I've never seen anybody hit anybody harder and enjoy it so much as Kim Burton. Because to watch him, I mean, he would hit people and then stand over them and smile to see what they're going to do. Just the perfect person, if you would want to create a football team, he's the kind of player you would want to have. Burton, Kim currently lives in Tucson, Arizona. He was unable to get back tonight. He indicated that he would love to have been here, obviously, but he couldn't get back. We congratulate Kim, and we will see that he gets his plaque very soon. Kim Burton, please. Our next inductee is Johnny Jones. John Henry Johnny Jones graduated from Taylorville High School in 1941. He earned 12 varsity letters during his athletic career. Nicknamed Racehorse Jones by the media, Johnny Jones set the Taylorville Invitational track meet and the Taylorville High School record in the 100-yard dash with a time of 10 seconds flat. And you have to remember that's on a cinder track. That's not on these fast tracks that the kids run on today. That record stood for 25 years. He led all 4 years of track. He also ran the 220-yard dash and the low hurdles. And in many meets, and I do some of the research for these things, and I went back reading the Breeze Courier, and in many of the meets, especially the big meets, Taylorville would be like second or third, and all the points would be scored by Johnny Jones. He was a one-man track team. In the spring of 1940, Jones finished he finished second in both the 100 and 220 and the Pana Open, and he finished second in the Decatur District and got to advance to the state finals in Champaign. He didn't finish in the medal round, but he represented Taylorville very well and was the matter of fact, Taylorville hasn't had a lot of people represent us in track at the state tournament, and he was one of the first to do that. As a football player, Jones earned varsity letters each of his 4 years. As a freshman, he was a letter winner on the varsity football team. He was a running back, and he opened the 1940 season. He graduated in 41, so that was the senior season. He opened that season in a game against Clinton, scoring touchdowns on the first 3 times he touched the ball. Probably Jones' most memorable game, however, came against Nokomis when he scored on runs of 65 and 90 yards in a 39-0 trouncing with the Redskins. An all-around athlete, Jones contributed to Dolph Stanley's basketball Tornadoes, making the varsity squad his freshman year and contributing a total of 201 points. The 1939-40 team, with a record of 21-11, was the very first Tornado team to advance to the state tournament in Champaign. It was the first round of the state tournament that Jones made his most memorable points of the season. A free throw with time run out, and the score, Taylorville was behind by 1 against Paris. Jones made the free throw to send the game into overtime with no timeout clock. A frustrating overtime gave the victory to Paris 36-35. Jones received an athletic scholarship to attend Centenary College in Shreveport, Louisiana, but World War II interrupted his college career, and Jones joined the U.S. Air Corps, serving until the end of the war in 1945. Following the war, Jones moved back to Langleyville, where he lived until his death in 2004. Accepting his plaque is his daughter, Carmen Jones.
He's not the only one that was nervous tonight. But anyway, my mother, Evelyn Jones, my brother Steve is here, and I would like to thank members of the Hall of Fame Committee for inducting my father, John Henry Jones, in the Taylorville High School Sports Hall of Fame. My father really believed in education, and he profited well from the public school system here. He once told me he had read every book at the Taylorville Library, and I tended to believe him, because my dad really was a self-taught man who would read and study to learn new skills. Such as every imaginable home improvement project, auto and airplane mechanics, gardening, photography, horseshoeing. He even taught himself to type, to sew, and to decoupage. He was a licensed private pilot. He also trained and showed horses. He embraced my mother's Italian heritage. He learned to speak the language. But as the people that knew him well knew, he was an avid reader, and he especially loved history and poetry. My dad could be found reading at all hours of the day or night, especially after he retired. The sports program in Taylorville offered him the opportunity to excel and helped him develop a sense of sportsmanship, fair play, and self-confidence that served him well the remainder of his life. When he graduated in 1941, his class was the first class to complete the 4-year course in the new building. They've already mentioned he earned 12 varsity letters, and we did refer to him as Racehorse even when I was a kid. He spoke fondly of his teammates and his coaches, and said that he probably wouldn't have been able to accomplish much without them, especially coaches Dolph Stanley and Red Bland. They already told you about his football career. You know, he was number 32, was part of that backfield that did help the Tornadoes in their undefeated season in 1941. He came back to basketball, by the way, in 1965 to play as an all-time star. For those of you that remember the Boyd Dappert Memorial basketball game. They picked these all-time stars from previous Tornadoes that had made it to the Sweet 16. After that game, he introduced my brother to Coach Stanley. Dolph asked my brother Steve, "And what do you play?" And Steve replied, "The violin." The coach kind of chuckled and said, "We need that too." I think really my dad excelled most in track because as a kid he ran everywhere. That was his feet were his main means of transportation. When he did that 100-yard dash in 10 seconds, which was, by the way, the first officially timed mark of 10 seconds in Central Illinois, according to the Breeze, he did that as a junior without starting blocks. And I often wondered how fast he would have ran if he had been trained to do so. After he left Centenary, he did enlist in the U.S. Army Air Corps, and that's where he developed a passion for aviation. He learned to work on planes as crew chief in the service, and then he came back to Taylorville, came back home, and learned how to fly them. I think my dad was the most content in the air flying one of his Cessnas. My dad passed away in 2004, but I think the racehorse would have been pleased tonight and have chuckled and repeated what he had said in the 1997 Hall of Fame banquet. It warms the cockles of your heart to be remembered. Thank you all for honoring my dad and for your attendance this evening.
Dick Seacrest, a 1959 graduate of Taylorville High School, who earned 10 varsity letters in 4 sports while attending Taylorville High School. A 3-year letter winner in football, Dick became the starting quarterback his junior year under Hall of Fame coach Jim Lovin's new side saddle single wing offense. Now, Dick, maybe you're going to explain to him what the side saddle single wing offense looked like, because none of you have experienced anything like that, except those of us who were fortunate enough to play for Coach Lovin. He was a perfect candidate for this position of quarterback in this new offense because not only did he have to be the offensive team leader and passer and often ball carrier, but more often he was the lead blocker, leading the tailback through the hole. Seacrest, a strong natural leader, had a strong arm and the size to both run and block as needed. Under his guidance, the 1957 Tornadoes compiled a 5-4 record, and in 1958, the team finished second in the Mid-State Conference with a record of 8 wins and 1 loss. In the 2 years he directed the offense, Taylorville outscored their opponents 483 to 220. Following his senior year, Seacrest was selected as a special mention member of the Chicago American newspaper's All-Southern football team. During the basketball season, Seacrest was the leading scorer in both 1957-58 and the 1958-59 seasons, scoring 317 points his junior year and 375 points his senior year. The 1957-58 team challenged for the Mid-State Conference Championship with an 11-3 conference record and an overall record of 21-7. However, the following season, the Seacrest-led Tornadoes won not only the Mid-State Conference Championship, but added a regional and sectional championship, along with the last Sweet 16 appearance of the Taylorville High School basketball team. Seacrest was selected the team's MVP following that season. A shot putter on the track team, Seacrest led her 2 years and again helped the Tornadoes to the conference championship in 1959. But it was in baseball that Seacrest excelled, earning 3 varsity letters and serving as a steadying force on a quality pitching staff. As a premier pitcher, Seacrest helped the Tornadoes to 2 conference championships and 2 visits to the IHSA state finals, with back-to-back team records of 18-3 and 18-4. Following graduation, he received a scholarship and continued his baseball career pitching at the University of Tulsa in the Missouri Valley Conference. While a regular contributor to the Golden Hurricane pitching staff, he earned 3 varsity letters and was selected to pitch the conference championship game against St. Louis University his senior year. Before I ask Dick to come up, I'm going to ask Johnny Helm to come up and read a letter first. John?
Dick, I received an email this afternoon from Tulsa, Oklahoma, and was asked to read it tonight. Excuse me. Congratulations on your induction into the Taylorville High School Hall of Fame. Your family is extremely proud of you. We know that you will be reminiscing about a lot of great times you had as a child, growing up in Taylorville, playing sports, having fellowship with old friends and mentors. We know that some of those times will be how many touchdown passes you threw, the lame duck pass down the middle that cost one of your teammates a couple of front teeth, your 4-4 time in the 40-yard dash, that's 4 minutes and 40 seconds. How your free throw percentage was better than any NBA player playing today, your 6th handicap per hole, how you led the league and state in strikeouts, all the championships you and your teams won, the baseball glove that went 62 rows up in Busch Stadium, the small town that has grown so much since you were a kid, Grandpa Sam's old barber shop, the big fish that got away, the hole that you shot through your uncle's new car rabbit hunting, the house you grew up in, and probably even an old watering hole you and the guys would sneak off to. Every corner you turn this weekend will have a fond memory of something you experienced as a child, Taylorville student, and as a ball player. We hope that your weekend is filled with joy, laughter, fellowship, and most of all, fun. We are sorry we could not make it, but we are there in spirit. The kids will be adding to their success this weekend, doing what most synchronous men do, and that is sports. Thank you for taking time out of your busy work schedule when Michelle and I were in sports to coach us, mentor us, and teach us the life lessons that we live by today. All of our baseball, softball, and basketball teams were extremely successful when you were involved as a coach or an observant parent. As a soccer coach, some things are just left to be unsaid. We love you and we hope that you have a great weekend. Love, your son, Rick.
Ladies and gentlemen, a cheery Dick Seaver.
Thank you, Dave. It sure is good to be home. I wasn't expecting that letter to be read. It was a surprise to me, and pretty humorous, actually. First, I'd like to thank those of the nominating committee and those that were on the selection committee for the Hall of Fame for allowing me to be inducted into this rather unique group. To have your name associated with people like Ridley, Bontemps, Orr, Slick, Helm, Popper, others, is special. And I also want to thank everybody here for supporting the Hall of Fame program here at Taylorville High School, and particularly my relatives and friends that are several tables here in the right. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
In the back? I want to add my congratulations to John Jones and Kevin Burton and Miss Payson, right? Kim Payson. And congratulations on being inducted also. And also want to add my congratulations to the 2013 state qualifying wrestling team and the regional champs boys and girls teams. I've been there, and it's very exhilarating to be a champion, whether the tournament is a holiday tournament or a regional tournament or a sectional tournament. I know how you feel. It's a great feeling. Things I'm going to talk about tonight, I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, about school, my career, and high school sports here at Taylorville. I told Mr. Hicksaball that since John wasn't here and Kevin wasn't here, I would take their time. So they got plenty of time to tell you this. I was born in Pana in 1941, the year that John Jones graduated from high school. Pana was, I love the players down there, but I hated them too. Nothing better. There was nothing better when I played ball than to beat Pana. Pana was our arch rival. I went hunting with Ron Crawford. I did a lot of things with a lot of the guys down there because I lived halfway between Taylorville and Pana. And I had a relationship with those boys down there, and they were really good guys, but it was fun to beat them. I lived in Wanico until I went to college in 1959. All of my immediate family members are deceased. My parents were Jim and Helen Seacrest. They made tremendous sacrifices, both of their time and resources, that I might be able to do in life what I've been able to do. My dad's career was mostly political. He held several elected and appointed positions in the state of Illinois, Christian County. Probably mostly remembered for his election to sheriff and Christian County Sheriff in 1964. My mother was a great cook. Slick here tells me he delivered milk worms from worms to my mother, Helen, at the Wanico grade school back in years gone by. My mother was a great cook, and for those of you that may have been incarcerated in the middle 60s, you would realize what a good cook she was. My brother Keith was 16 years older than me, and he was a career officer in the Air Force, retired as a full colonel. He had married a girl from Pana, can you believe that? And had 3 children. My sister Phyllis was a home baker. She married Trillis Barger, who's here tonight. If you want to stand, Trillis.
Stand.
And they had 2 children, twin children, Donnie deceased, and Donna, their daughter, who's also here tonight. Donna, would you stand? I had several relatives here in Central Illinois, grandparents. I think Sam Fortner was spoke to. My grandpa was quite a grandpa. He cut hair in Wanico for 66 years. Had several uncles, aunts, and cousins, one of which, Dwight Taylor, if he would stand or raise his hand here, is my cousin and his wife, Beverly. In terms of school, I went to Wanico Elementary School. It was typical of most grade schools, if you will. We were a bit unique in that we had multiple classes in the same classroom, and that was interesting. And we had a organized basketball team in the 5th and 6th grade. The team consisted of guys like Mike Godat, who many of you know. He was an outstanding athlete at Taylorville, and he was my soulmate for gosh, until the first days I can remember, way before grade school, through college. He also played ball here at Taylorville and went to the University of Tulsa, as I did, and played baseball down there. Larry Mollahan, Jim Umberger, Paul Sweetie, Leroy Jones, those are names that were in Wanico. And friends that I made there in the local area, Mick Ryan is, well, the Ryan boys, I could talk for hours about the relationship of the Ryans, but Mick's here, if he'd stand, and Roger Ryan. Little League commenced for me at 11 years old. My first coach was Zeke Bell, Bob Bell's brother, and we did real well. Godat was a catcher, I was a pitcher. I don't know why Mick Ryan wasn't on our team. He was from Wanaco also, but he was not. In junior high, I enjoyed the bus ride from Wanaco to Taylorville every day. I was overwhelmed by how big Taylorville was in terms of the school. I had a teacher for each subject. That was unique. We had intramural basketball teams. The teachers served the coaches, and that was the 7th and 8th grade. In 9th grade, George Zigman was my coach. And George was a unique coach. He really believed in conditioning. And those who played for him, I know Helm and some others, we experienced a 1, 2, 3, 4 drill that just hated it. The 1, you ran as fast as you could to the other end of the floor. 2, you ran as fast as you could backwards to the other end of the floor. 3, you did one defensive position, 4, you did the other. And it was exhausting. And George felt like the louder he talked, the more directly you understood what he was trying to say. George was he really got into explaining things in a very vivid and clear manner. You know, at senior high, in addition to playing ball, the National Honor Society, Student Council, the Letterman's Club, there were a lot of extracurricular things that we did in high school. I got my driver's license at 16, a sophomore. My first car date was Mary Dunn Bell. Who's here tonight? Mary, will you raise your hand? And obviously she got the better man, Bob. Bob, would you raise your hand? The sophomore year in football, I did letter in football my sophomore year. Don Johnson was our coach, and we didn't have a very good year. We were 1-8, beating Kincaid, 6-0. In baseball, I lettered in Red Bland. Edward Bland was the coach. And basketball, I played mostly junior varsity with George Zigman, and of course Al Sirloin was our varsity coach. Junior and senior year, football was a man, our coach was a man I loved, Jim Lovin. He had a unique approach to playing football, much like Woody Hayes did. You need to be bigger and faster than your opponent, and you need to run over them. And you need to mostly run, and when you're through, 2 things bad could happen. It was either incomplete or intercepted. And he had a running offense, and he really took advantage. He was really an outstanding coach. We did 2-on-1 blocking, and that usually is effective. If you got 2 guys blocking 1, you can usually take that person out of the play. And he was a wonderful coach, wonderful man, and a Hall of Fame person. He was in the Hall of Fame. And of course, he was also the track coach. And again, my varsity basketball coach, junior, senior year, was Al Sirloin, and baseball, Red Bland. I want to say something about I don't know if it was Coach Sherline or the business community or what it was, but the business community, they had a businessman luncheon downtown at the Racine Hotel, which I saw was leveled today, it's no longer there. They had a businessman's luncheon, and businessmen would come, and an athlete was selected for whatever the reason, did a good job, did something. And we would go to this luncheon, and we would be introduced by the coach and speak some. And we got to know the business leaders in the community. At least I did. And some of those that I got to know rather well was Bert Hopper, whose son Bill is here. Bill, would you raise your hand? Rini Mazzati, whose son Rick, I think I saw him earlier. Rick, did you here? Maurice Summers, Wallace Hiles Sr., Jim Marblestone. And it was really unique in that not only did you play and represent your school, but there were some city fathers looking over your shoulder that was really interested in what you were doing, not only on the field or on the basketball court, but in life. And I could speak to how some of those men helped me in my life. After high school, I went to the University of Tulsa on a baseball scholarship. I was recruited by Dan Cameron, who was an oil man in Tulsa, who had a crude oil transportation operation here in central Illinois. And Mr. Cameron socialized with Mayor Sweeney, Tom Sweeney, and Coach Sherman. And it is my belief, I don't know, but it's my belief that through that socialization and what have you, I was recruited by the University of Tulsa. I graduated in 4 years and lettered in baseball 3 of those years, and I got a bachelor's degree, a master's degree in mathematics down at the University of Tulsa. There were other athletes from Taylorville High School that went to the University of Tulsa. Floyd Huffines, who many of you know was a '58 basketball player here. Gerald Parker, Mike Godet, and more recently, Allison Curtin. Allison, as you know, was an outstanding high school player of the year, I believe, in Illinois, girls basketball. She went to Illinois 3 years, played at the University of Tulsa 4 years, the last year, or 4 years. And she, the first game I ever went to was at Springfield, Missouri. Dave Giannelli called me and said, "Hey, you're gonna like this girl." You know, I'd never seen her or heard of her. So I went out to the university, and she was out there practicing on the gym floor. I didn't know who it was. I went up and said, "Do you know a girl named Allison Curtin?" And she says, "Yes, I'm Allison." And I said, "Hey, I think I'm gonna go to your game up at Springfield." He played at Missouri State, who has really a great women's basketball group. And she said, "Yeah, there's a busload of people coming down from Taylorville." And there were an unbelievable number of people at Taylorville, our first college game. And I met John Curtin. John is here. John's her grandpa, and I have got to know John and his wife Alice very well over the last 10 years. In terms of my career after graduation, I worked for IBM, North American Rockwell, Martin Marietta, and Amoco. And after a very ordinary 22 career with Amoco, I retired at age 51 after holding 7 executive positions. While working for North American Rockwell, I married the bride of my life. I did overmarry, and her name was Mary Kay Rickard. Mary Kay? We had 2 children. Rick, you heard what he had to say about me. And I have a daughter, Michelle, who's here with us tonight. Both Rick and Michelle have 2 children each, so we have 4 grandchildren. My oldest is graduating from high school, and he's going to the University of Oklahoma as a soccer player on a soccer scholarship. So currently, when I'm not golfing or fishing, I'm Mary Kay's yard man or pool boy. So I'm either cleaning the pool or mowing the yard. So I'm about done. I want to talk about the high school sports. 58-59 baseball team. We were blessed with a lot of talent, went to the state tournament both years. Probably the game I remember most was a game against Springfield High School at Lanphier Park when we were seniors. We're talking sectional finals, we're talking last inning. Taylorville leads Springfield by 1 run, bases loaded, 2 outs. Archie Tarrant has pitched a terrific game, and Archie's wife, widow, is here. Would you raise your hand? And the count gets to 3-0. Arch was known to have a blazing fastball, but if you were a batter, you better not dig in. He didn't throw it over the plate all the time. So we red line come out of the dugout. And I thought, uh-oh, here we go. I think he's coming out there to just settle Arch down and get him. Seekers, come here. So I was playing first base, and I went to the mound, and he says, "Get your other glove." So he put me on the mound with 3 balls and no strikes. And, didn't bother me. And I don't know, I threw 5 or 6 fastballs, and the guy fouled every one of them off. Foul ball. So it's 3-2. I finally threw a curveball, got him out. Strangely enough, he was a catcher at the University of Tulsa later, down in Tulsa. So that was a great game. We won the sectional final, and we did go to the state tournament, and that was a thrill. In football, and track, I was not at all interested in participating in track, as you can probably see why. And Jim Levin asked me, and that was 2 games that I'm going to put in the back burner and not talk about. In '57, we come back to 5-4, won the first 5 games, lost the last 4 games. And in '58, we really turned it around, and we were 8-1, and thoroughly enjoyed the effort. And there's some football players here that I played with. Terry Grant's here, Terry. So there's probably others here, but I can't. Bob Bell played against Nick Ryan. He went to Cathedral. I'm going to tell you one story about the football, Hillsborough game, senior year. We're out here at the local field, and we were not in threat of losing the game, but Coach Levin allowed a pass play. So I got the ball back, saw a receiver. It's going to be an easy play, easy completion. And I saw this linebacker coming from the right side, and my friend John Helm was blocking. He was in his perfect position to block. He was right in line with it. So I was taking my time, went back, started to come forward. I don't know what Helm did. I don't know what he was thinking. John Helm was a great athlete. He was a great running back, a great safety, great basketball player, great track guy, great baseball player, great everything. But he got out of the road. And who was earlier we talked about that could hit us hard, Kevin? Well, this was Kevin on steroids. And he hit me, my back went back, feet went up, ball went straight in the air, intercepted, and Coach Levin was not happy that he called a pass play. So one of the things that Helm did well, pass blocking was not one. Basketball, the 59 team was best remembered, no doubt, by beating Springfield High School, the Armory in Springfield on their home court. And Springfield was the eventual state champion that year. So we beat the state champions. And if we played them again that year, I think we could beat them again. I really believe of all the teams we played, Centralia was the only team that was probably better than us. I really think they had players and coaches that just had it. that they could beat us. That's the only team I can remember playing as a senior that I thought that we couldn't beat 3 out of 5 times that we played them. I'm going to close by saying a few things about Coach Sherman. The best thing about Coach Sherman is his wife. Aileen Sherlock, I guarantee if I ever married Coach Riddle, she is so wonderful and was so wonderful to the players, stays in touch with us, always is upbeat, cheerful, and Aileen, we love you. And also, the coach gave us chewing gum every game. He had a code of conduct that probably a lot of coaches could take advantage of for his players. We prayed before the games, heaven forbid. I mean, who's watching? Big Brother's watching. We prayed before the River game. There was no horseplay. We were always focused on getting better. Suit and tie every game. We were to talk and act like gentlemen. Most will remember Coach Sherman as a great coach. And I define that not by win-loss records, but by helping each of his players to realize the full potential of their talent within the framework of the team. I remember in most, Coach, for the love, care, and concern that you've had for all your players. When all is said and done, he probably was a better athletic director than he was a coach. Witness all the players like me who got college scholarships, not in basketball, his sport, but in sports of all kinds that he was responsible for. So, Coach, on behalf of all the players that ever played for you, I say thank you. That's it. Sorry I took so long.
Dick? Thanks, Dick. We really do appreciate those comments. Our final inductee this evening is Kim Paisley Hohensteiner. As a member of the volleyball team, Kim graduated from Middle High School in 1983. She won 11 varsity letters. As a member of the volleyball team, Paisley Hohensteiner lettered 3 years and was team captain as a senior. At 5'11", she was a dominant force on the front line and provided a strong defense to complement her ability to be the main spiker on the team. As a freshman member of the very first Lady Tornadoes basketball team in 1979, Paisley Hohensteiner was an immediate contributor, coming off the bench to help the squad achieve an 8-6 record. The following year, she became a member of the starting 5, and over the next 3 years contributed over 700 points, 500 rebounds, and helping the Lady Tornadoes to 57 more wins against only 14 losses. In both her sophomore and junior seasons, the Lady Tornadoes won Taylorville's first and second IHSA regional championships. Kim was selected team captain in both her junior and senior years. During her sophomore season, Kim set a team shooting percentage record by hitting 111 of 233 shots for a 47.6% shooting percentage. Kim was an all-around athlete, and when spring arrived, she immediately made an impact on the track team. A 4-year letter winner, Kim focused on the high jump. As a sophomore, she set the school and Apollo Conference record at 5 feet 5 inches and advanced to the IHSA state finals 3 times. Her high jump mark has been tied once, but 32 years later, Kim Paisley's name is still on top of the school record holder. Her high jumping success has also earned her 4 invitations to participate in the Illinois State Journal Register's annual Capital All-Area Track Meet. During her senior year, Kim was recruited by a variety of colleges to play volleyball or basketball. She accepted a scholarship to play both volleyball and basketball at Quincy University, where she was not only a 3-year starter on each team, but she was also selected captain of both teams her junior and senior seasons. Highlights of her college career included Quincy's volleyball team finishing 7th in the nation for NAIA schools, and Kim's scoring leader, a career total of 433 points and grabbed 249 rebounds for the Lady Hawks basketball team. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to introduce Kim Paisley Holstein.
That's my coach right there. I promise I won't take too long, but I do have a few things to say. I'm a little nervous too, so bear with me. Truly humbled and honored for this award this evening, and I'm very proud to share it with tonight's other award winners, so congratulations to you. They say it takes a village to raise a child, and I'm proud to say that I brought with me some of my village tonight. They're all over here. I won't name them because there's too many of them. Thanks for being there all through the years to support me and encourage me. And I guess that makes you all the village people. To my brother, Brad Paisley, hang on a minute. Thanks for nominating me. I guess all those years of me beating you up and locking you in the closet, basically harassing you as the pesky little brother that you were, have paid off. Thank you for your nomination. No one can achieve these honors by themselves, and it takes a group of people coming together to strategize, practice, and execute the game plan. I'd like to recognize and thank all the coaches and players and support staff that were there for us all these years. And I do see a few of them in the crowd this evening, and my junior high volleyball coach is here, I believe, Miss Nina Hickman. There she is. Joyce Wilcox. Ready? Love that lady. She was my track coach. Of course, Mr. Hicksonbaugh. I was really upset in 4th grade when we moved, because I was in the West School District, which is no longer in existence, but I was really excited. 5th grade track meet was coming up, you know, we were all going to compete against each other. I was going to be a West School all-star for Mr. Hicksonbaugh, and then we moved to North School. And I was really bummed, because West was the best. That's what they said anyway. But I believe that, I don't know if there were any records for that year, but I'll say that North School kicked West School's butt, so we'll just say that. Anyways, had some awesome other coaches, Kathy Flanagan, rest her soul, she's no longer here with us, and Jackie Barnes. Tell you something about Jackie Barnes. We started basketball that very first year in 1979. None of us had a clue about basketball. We didn't have, you know, all the traveling teams like they have now. No Gus Macker tournaments. There wasn't little league stuff for girls back then. And Jackie Barnes accepted the job of being our JV coach with Coach Hicksonbaugh. And I don't know how she put up with us, but she didn't have a clue either. And her plan, you know, there was no such thing as Google back then. And so we are out there the first practice. We showed up with our tennis shoes and our socks, and tube socks, by the way, and shorts and a t-shirt. And Jackie Barnes was out there with her whistle and her Bob Cousy book of basketball strategy. That is how we learned to play the game. Bob Cousy. So we figured it out, though. Along the way, I also had some great college coaches, which none of you would know, so I'm not going to mention their names, but they were like family to me, home away from home. Can't forget to mention Terry Wright, and as I heard your voice up here tonight emceeing, it brought back some good memories of hearing you on the radio announcing our games. Thank you for your support through the years. Also Gary McCullough and John Blakeman, and there's been a lot of talk about Pana tonight. from several people, and I got out my old game tapes that Slick Parrish taped for us the other night, and I stayed up till like 1 o'clock in the morning watching my senior year. We played against Pana, and there was Gary McCullough and John Blakeman doing the color commentary. It was just hysterical to me, and I still have the same haircut. So thank you for all your support through the years. We really appreciate it. To all the ladies I had the privilege of serving or sharing the blood, sweat, and tears with on the hardwood and on the track, rock. You guys, there's a couple of them back there. And we learned so much, and we learned how to be leaders. We learned teamwork, perseverance. Many of us are mothers ourselves, lawyers, doctors, charity organizers, adoptive parents, and leaders in our own right. And you all continue to inspire me. And I thank you for pushing me to make me a better player, and a better human being, and a better athlete. Cheers. The first thing you gotta learn as an athlete, and I'm sure those of you in this room will attest to this, is you gotta learn the fundamentals. And I think somebody mentioned that earlier tonight. As a newly formed basketball team in 1979, we really did have to start from scratch. I already mentioned the Bob Cousy deal. We showed up with our Chuck Taylor Converse high-top tennis shoes that Mr. Hicksonbaugh made us wear. They were white, none of this colored stuff, you know. By the way, I just bought my second pair last year. They're black. We were so green back then, and I look at the girls' teams today, and you girls, you ladies back there, I've been in your shoes, and enjoy every minute of it, because one of these days you might be up here, and it's gonna go by really fast. So enjoy it. You were so much more advanced than we were back then, and but I am proud of what we accomplished. For me, though, it's never really been about the statistics. It's always about the lessons that you learn along the way, the journey, and being able to discover something about yourself that you can accomplish anything that you set your heart to and that you want bad enough. I really couldn't tell you what any of our records were. Maybe it's early as Alzheimer's, I don't know, but I can't remember how many points were had with rebounds. But I can tell you the great times that we had on the bus rides. Probably shouldn't mention a few of those. My mom is here. Pre-game times in the locker room. Probably shouldn't mention those. And all of our practices. I can tell you that Linda Presume, who is here this evening, was and is by far the most naturally talented athlete of our time, as well as the funniest person I know. And she got me to do things that I probably shouldn't tell my mom, but one of them, I think, was as an initiation, we had to chew skull. And I did it. And I didn't like it. It sucked. Thank you, Linda. All the pranks that we pulled and the stupid stuff we did, it was all in fun, and we had a great time. Like the time that I think somebody got busted on the bus for reading magazines that were disguised as Quarter Horse Quarterly or something like that, some horse magazine. And they really weren't horse magazines, and I'll just leave it at that. Coach, what do you mean? From over there. As far as life lessons go, they say it starts at an early age, and our parents are really our first coaches and mentors in life. We're not given a playbook when you become a parent. You just kind of wing it. And you use your gut instincts and lessons that you've been taught along the way. And I'd like to thank my mom who's here tonight. I know I'm going to embarrass her and make her stand up. Do it anyway. She's always supported each and every one of us and encouraged us, always gently guiding and quietly in the background. She's never really been the intrusive one, but just let us make our own decisions and supported us, whether they were good ones or bad ones, and occasionally giving us a thump on the head if we acted anything but nice. Love you, Mom. You're the glue that holds us together and the shepherd that guides her flock. My other first coach is not here tonight, but I know he's watching. We laid my father's ashes to rest today. He passed away last summer, and I know that he would have been very proud tonight to have been here, busting his buttons. So it seemed appropriate that we celebrated his life this morning with just a small group of family. He didn't listen to me though, because he brought rain and I asked for a sunny day, but that's all right. He was a graduate of Auburn High School in 1962, where he still holds the record for the longest punt return of 98 yards. And we snuck off and spread a few of his ashes at the goalpost today in his honor. He was, of course, always at all of our events, often coming to practice to watch us, and never missing a game. He's cheering on the sidelines. I could always see him in the corner of the gym. That's where he stood. He hated to be in the crowd, hated to be in the audience up there in the bleachers. He'd stand up there or underneath the clock, usually, arms crossed, silently watching, giving me some tips here and there, and I usually knew that look on his face meant that I was going to have to do some sort of a debrief after the game of what happened and what went wrong and what could I have done better, but he was always there to support us. I would be remiss tonight if I didn't, he was also a member of the United States Navy, and I'd be remiss if I didn't take the moment to recognize our military folks in the audience tonight, because he would have wanted me to do that. So if you would just be so kind, and if you served in the military or currently serving, I'd please like you to stand up, and we need to recognize you for your service. These are the true heroes, the people that should be recognized. Thank you for your service. And since he's no longer here to provide his wisdom with which he used to bestow on us, painstakingly, right, Brad? I mean, we'd rather have had a beating than have to listen to my dad for hours on end philosophize about some minutia detail, you know, and like, God, just hit me and get it over with, please. You know. So, my kids are here, and my nieces and nephews, and I'd like to take a moment and talk to each one of you. And if Grandpa were here, he'd be telling you things in your ear right and left, just like we had to listen to. So guess what? I get to do that now. So, I'd like to take a moment and introduce my kids. Jake, his wife Kylene. Yes, I'm a mother-in-law now. Patrick, who, by the way, is a police officer in Macon, Missouri, just got his first law enforcement job, so we're very proud of that. And my youngest daughter, Brandy, who thought the speech tonight should be all about her. Well, honey, everything I do is about you or with you in mind, okay? Don't you worry. And my niece and my two nephews, Andrew, Isabella, and Jack. These are Grandpa Tom's top 10 list of fundamentals, since we're talking about fundamentals tonight. Number 1, pull your own strings. Never let anybody pull them for you. God, how many times did I hear that one? You're given 2 gifts when you enter this world. We each have the same two gifts, the gift of time, you never know how long it's going to be, and the gift of freedom of choice. When you screw up, and you're going to screw up, you get to make a new choice. Life is short, make sure you live it well. Never, ever, ever stop communicating. When you do, you lose. Take responsibility for your own success and failures. When you succeed, remember you didn't do it alone. And when you fail, go back to the fundamentals. It's okay to start over. Never let tragedy, disappointment, pain, or sorrow limit your success. It is not an excuse to fail, rather a motivational opportunity to succeed and achieve your dreams. Surround yourself with people who lift you up, not bring you down. You're going to need great friends to laugh with and cry with, and who will tell you that it's okay to take a leap of faith when you're afraid of the unknown. Don't forget to pray. When life becomes overwhelming, jobs are lost, relationships have ended, friendships are on shaky ground, and life is cut short way too soon. Try not to overthink it. Just take that inward journey into your heart and be quiet. That's where God speaks to you. Number 9, when all attempts at communication have failed, this is my favorite, you've done your very best. Sometimes you just have to remember there's an art to communication. The art is being able to tell someone to go to hell and have them to look forward to taking the trip. He did that one well. And the last thing my dad said to me 3 weeks before he left this world too soon was to run your own race. When life gets tough, you're being pulled in different directions, you're not sure of which choice to make, remember to run your own race. It's yours to win, whatever that may be. So I'd like to thank you all again for the honor tonight, for your time. And I'd like to leave you with a little song that was our...
That's not it.
It was not heavy metal, I promise. That is so not how I envisioned it going. Anyway, this is our warm-up song from 1979, and it kind of sums up how I feel tonight, if he'll get it working, okay? If not, I told him he had to sing.
Well, I think after tonight's banquet, we can all say that being a fan of Taylorville High School, we are all family. Even though there was a lot of shots taken at Pana tonight. Nina, I want you to remember that too. I just found out recently that Nina went to Pana High School. So remember this night, Nina. But again, I think we owe a big round of applause once again to our inductees here tonight. And congratulations to the 18th class of inductees to the Hall of Fame. Now, I'm sure that there's some of you that would like to take pictures, so I would like to ask the inductees if they would come up here for just a moment before we break up, and let those that like to get a picture, please take a picture. So the two inductees that are here, the family of John Jones, if you would come up here as soon as we're done, we'd appreciate it. And for all the rest of you, I'd just like to say once again on behalf of David and the rest of the group, I'm sure I speak for them when I say thank you for being here. We certainly appreciate it. And don't forget us, we'll be here again next year for our 19th banquet. So once again, go Tornadoes.